Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for stop number 5. I think I'm going to do one more of these. Today's stop is my other favorite person in Augusta history because she is the reason we have a library. And if you've been on my walks, you should know who I'm talking about. That would be Miss Maud Leroy. So her stone is kind of sunken a little bit. So unfortunately, I can't really get that into my shot while I'm talking. But this is what it looks like. I will go ahead and start off with where this is located. This is on the 3rd section. So you're going to come in this last entrance on the south side. She is right behind or in front of, depending on how you want to look at it, the Andersons right there. Right there. And then there's a Zank stone in front. There's a big pine tree here. And yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like here around Maud's stone. Like I said, Maud is one of my favorite people. In most places where I've seen her mentioned in the newspaper, it is always Miss Maud Leroy. She never married. She was born near the Wisconsin Dells in 1888, and while she was still an infant, she and her family moved here to Augusta. So she went through the Augusta School District. She was a graduate of the class of 1906, I think. It was a year that we do not have a yearbook for, because I have looked for that yearbook because I have never seen a photograph of Miss Maud Leroy. If anyone can remedy that, you will make me the happiest person in the world. So I'm always on the lookout for that. Maud was a very interesting person just in general. After graduation, she went to Ripon College, where she got a degree. I assume at that time, whatever the equivalency of like a librarian degree was. She worked for a library in Minneapolis for a short time. Then she spent 5 years in Washington, D.C., working for the government. She worked in the Office of the Attorney General, if I remember. Maybe? I'll have to double check that. I'm giving you false information. I'm really sorry. It's an office I wasn't actually familiar with. Like, I had to go look up what that office did. It might even be an office that doesn't technically, maybe now it's like the Attorney General. Maybe that's where I'm pulling that from. So she was there for a couple of years, and then she moved, ooh, gnats again. Ugh. Then she moved to Chicago, and she worked in Chicago for 3 years. Eventually, she made her way back to Ripon, and she worked at the library there. And at some point made her way back home to Augusta. While she was not our first librarian, the public library here opened in 1911. So she was in college at the time, I believe, or just out of college. She was home visiting. Here's the story. Darn bugs. She came home, and her mother, I think her name was Zelda. It's a Z name. I know that because I can look at her headstone. She's right next door. She was going to a meeting of the Tuesday Club. And the Tuesday Club had been collecting money for years to start a library here in town. And so Maud came home and basically said, you have the money, start the library. Like, just get it done. There were certain people in our community who did not like the idea. There is a gentleman that we have not visited on a walk, but if we ever do I have a mouthful to say about him. I cannot remember what his name is off the top of my head, so I apologize, but he was very anti-spending the money on this library for whatever reason. People. So the first librarian in Augusta was Frankie Wilson, who is buried here in the cemetery, way over on section 1. However, she does not have a headstone. We did visit her on our first walk, and I was only kind of able to pin down a general location of where she is. I am not 100% positive I was even in the correct location, because if you've ever had to try and follow our cemetery map, it's kind of awful. So Anyway, back to Maud. She, a very well-liked person. I've never found anything to the contrary. I have found some very interesting tidbits, and I always love to see little tidbits about what Maud was up to. At one point, she was running an ice cream business out of her home. I loved that you could get your first pint for free. She did delivery. She also, the graduating classes, or each class used to do a play, and her graduating class, their play was so well received here in Augusta that they were actually asked to do an encore performance in Fairchild, which they did. Oh, her character had a great name, and I can't remember it right now. It was like Sassy or something like that. I think it was supposed to be a very tragic character, like comic relief tragic. So yeah, everything I find out about Maud Leroy just delights me endlessly. So again, if you want to visit Maud and need some help, you can find, we've actually visited her twice. We visited her on our very first cemetery walk, and then on the Notable Women Walk back in 2018. I think that's the right year. Those are all available online at the Augusta website, augustalibrary.org, under history. Or if you're stopping in for an appointment, you can probably just ask Leslie or Stacy or Max if they would make you a copy, and they will happily do that for you. The only walk that is not available, because I apparently forgot to give them a copy and I have to find it, is the one from last October, the Grisly Demises. It is on my to-do list to get that to them, I promise. Thank you for watching. This one got kind of long because I love Maud that much. And I hope you will join me next time. I'll see you then. Bye.